You know what's crazy? Sometimes the things that freak us out the most, they aren't the loud screams or the jump scares. It's the sounds we get used to. The sounds that become so normal, we don't even think twice about them. Back in the fall of 2023, I moved to Portland, Oregon for work. If you've ever been there, you know the vibe. It's gloomy, gray, and it rains, like almost every single day. I found this old classic red brick apartment right downtown. It had a lot of character, but the walls, they were paper thin. You know how those old buildings are. I was staying in Unit 403. My very first night there, I heard the neighbor in the room next door, Unit 402, almost immediately. It was around 2 a.m., that time of night when the whole city is just dead quiet. Then I heard it, the sound of a wooden chair dragging across a parquet floor. Right after that, I could hear the water running through the pipes in the wall from their bathroom. Honestly, I didn't think much of it. If anything, it actually felt a little bit comforting. I thought, hey, at least in this quiet, empty-feeling building, I've got a fellow night owl next door. Just someone else who liked being up late, doing their thing. Fast forward 2 weeks, and the routine in room 402, it was clockwork, every single night, like a script. At 2:15 a.m., there goes the chair. At 2:30 a.m., the pipes start humming with running water. But the most distinct thing, the cough. It was this dry, faint cough, just 2 or 3 times, and then silence. I heard it every night, right through the wall behind my headboard. I started making up this story in my head, thinking my neighbor was probably some retired guy who stays up late reading, or maybe a night shift worker just winding down after a long day. But then, this heavy feeling started to sink in. I realized I had never actually seen the guy, not once. I didn't see him when I left for work in the morning. I didn't see him when I came back in the evening. I never saw the door to 402 open. I never even saw a bag of trash left outside. But that chair, that water, and that cough, they happened every single night, exactly on time, like a clock that had been wound up and just left to run. One Saturday morning, it was freezing outside. I decided I'd try to be a good neighbor. I went out and grabbed a box of those famous donuts everyone talks about. I figured I'd just hang them on the doorknob of 402 with a little note. From room 403. Simple, right? But when I got to the door of 402, I stopped. The doorknob was caked in thick dust, and there was this little maintenance tag from the building office, just lying there, folded on the floor. I felt a bit weird, so I walked down to the lobby to talk to the building manager. He was just sitting there, staring at his monitors. I asked him, "Hey, sorry to bother you, but does anyone still live in 402? I wanted to drop off some food, but the room seems quiet." He looked up at me, his eyes just empty. He waited for a second and then said, "Room 402 has been vacant for over a year now." I felt my blood go cold. He kept going, totally casual about it. "Ever since the last tenant passed away in there, back in late 2022, we haven't even listed it. The floors and the pipes, they need a lot of work." My voice was shaking when I asked, "He passed away? What happened?" The manager just sighed. "Lung cancer. He died quietly. right in his office chair, late at night. Nobody even knew for a few days. That evening, when I went back up to my room, everything felt different. I mean, the whole vibe of the place had shifted. I spent hours trying to gaslight myself, telling myself, it's just air in the pipes, or it's just the old wood expanding and contracting. You know, the usual excuses you make when you're terrified. I turned out the lights at midnight and just laid there. But the silence, it was so heavy I could literally hear my own heart thumping against the mattress. Then, 2:15 a.m., the chair. It came from the exact same spot behind the wall, clear, heavy, deliberate. Then came the water, rushing through the pipes right behind my headboard. My skin was crawling, but then, the sound that made me bolt upright, shivering in the dark, was the cough. That dry, faint, little cough. But this time, it didn't come from room 402. This time, it came from the foot of my bed, right there, inside the room with me. It was like he knew. He knew I found out the truth, and he wasn't planning on being alone in that empty room anymore.